For 10 years, I told myself my ex-husband was a terrible father. Not just flawed, but fundamentally broken. The kind of dad who would promise the world and deliver nothing. I still remember Lily's first day of kindergarten. She clung to that stupid dinosaur backpack he'd bought her, eyes scanning the crowd until the bell rang. He never showed. That was the first time I had to lie to her. "Daddy got stuck at work," I said, wiping her tears with my sleeve. By 3rd grade, the excuses ran out. Lily stopped asking why he missed parent-teacher conferences. She just accepted that Dad wasn't like other dads. The worst was her 10th birthday. He swore he'd take her to Disneyland. She talked about it for months. When the day came, radio silence. I found her sitting on the porch in her Minnie Mouse ears at sunset, still holding that unwrapped present she'd picked out for him. I built walls around her heart to protect her. Some people just don't know how to love, I'd say. But kids are smarter than we think. When she turned 13, she started defending him. "Maybe Dad's trying in his own way," she'd say after he'd ghosted her for the 3rd straight weekend. That's when I realized she wasn't protecting him. She was protecting me. From the truth that maybe, just maybe, I'd been wrong this whole time. The turning point came junior year. Lily made honor roll. Against my better judgment, I texted him the time and place of the ceremony. Part of me hoped he wouldn't come. But there he was, lurking in the back with a grocery store bouquet. Lily's face lit up like I hadn't seen in years. And for the first time, I noticed something I'd missed. The way his hands shook when she hugged him. The way he quickly wiped his eyes when he thought no one was looking. That night, Lily asked me something that changed everything. "Mom," she said, "what if Dad's not the villain in this story?" I didn't sleep at all. Because the truth was, I'd spent so long painting him as the bad guy. I never stopped to ask why he kept showing up. Late, awkward, but always eventually there. Then came graduation day. I walked in ready to roll my eyes, when he inevitably disappointed her again. But what I saw, what I finally let myself see, changed everything I thought I knew about the man I'd spent a decade hating. After the divorce, I told myself I'd never badmouth him to Lily. But as the years went by, that promise got harder to keep. Every missed soccer game, every forgotten birthday, they stacked up like bricks in a wall between us. I became an expert at softening the blow. "Dad's just busy," I'd say through clenched teeth as I helped Lily blow out her candles alone. Again. The worst part? Watching her learn not to expect anything. By middle school, she stopped asking when he'd visit. She'd just give me this sad little smile when his name popped up on my phone. I remember one night finding her sitting on her bedroom floor, staring at this crooked picture frame holding their only decent photo together. She looked up at me and said, "It's okay, Mom. I know he's trying." But we both knew better. I started keeping score. 3 Christmases in a row he'd canceled last minute. 5 straight years of empty promises to take her camping. The final straw was when he missed her big choir solo, the one she'd practiced for months. That night, I screamed into my pillow until my throat hurt. How could someone be so careless with a child's heart? But then, I noticed something strange. Whenever Lily talked about him, there was no anger, just this quiet hope that never quite died. She'd defend him in ways that broke my heart. "Remember when Dad taught me to ride a bike?" she'd say, ignoring how he'd disappeared for months afterward. I realized then, she wasn't remembering the man he was. She was holding on to the father she wished he could be. And I had to face the ugly truth. My anger wasn't just about protecting Lily anymore. It was about punishing him. Every time I rolled my eyes at his excuses, every time I pointed out his failures, I was keeping score for both of us. I'd become so focused on his mistakes, I stopped seeing the moments he did show up. That graduation day, when I saw him nervously adjusting his tie in the parking lot 20 minutes early, something inside me cracked. All these years I'd been waiting for him to fail, What if I'd been missing the times he tried to be better? What if the real failure was mine all along? Graduation morning felt like walking into a courtroom. I'd spent years building my case against him, the absent father, the unreliable ex. Lily kept glancing at her phone, pretending not to care if he showed. But when we pulled into the school parking lot, I saw his car already there. Not just on time, early. My stomach dropped. He stood near the back entrance, awkward in a too-tight suit, holding a cheap bouquet from the grocery store. What struck me wasn't that he came, it was how he came. No grand gestures, no making up for lost time, just a man who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, but showed up anyway. When Lily's name was called, something unexpected happened. From my seat, I could see his hands trembling as he tried to film her, the way his breath caught when she crossed the stage, and then, God help me, I saw him wipe his eyes with the back of his hand when he thought no one was looking. After the ceremony, I watched from a distance as he handed Lily that sad little bouquet. She threw her arms around him, and for the first time in years, I saw my daughter hug her father without hesitation. Without that careful tension she'd learned to keep, just in case he disappointed her again. That's when it hit me. All those years I'd been keeping track of his failures. Had I ever once acknowledged his attempts? The random Tuesday nights he'd drive across town just to have dinner with her? The child support payments that always came on time, even when he was between jobs? I'd been so focused on how he fell short as a father, I'd refused to see how hard he was trying. As they stood there laughing together, him still awkward, her completely at ease, I realized the terrible truth. The wall I'd built to protect my daughter's heart had been keeping her from her father's love all along. I followed them to the diner after graduation, not to spy, okay, maybe to spy. But what I overheard at that sticky booth changed everything. Lily was showing him her graduation program when his voice dropped to this broken whisper I'd never heard before. "I'm so sorry I missed so much," he said, and then the truth came tumbling out. He wasn't staying away because he didn't care. He was staying away because he cared too much. The job loss after our divorce that he'd been too ashamed to tell me about. The months he couldn't afford gas to visit Lily. The depression that made him feel like a failure every time he looked at our daughter. "I didn't want her to see me like that," he told Lily, his hands shaking around his coffee cup. "You deserved better than some broken down dad." And right there in that diner, with the smell of burnt toast and cheap coffee around us, I finally understood. All those years I'd been furious at him for not showing up. He thought he was protecting her. The hardest part, Lily knew. She reached across the table and said something that shattered me. "Dad, I didn't need presents or trips. I just needed you." And when he broke down sobbing in that crowded diner, something inside me broke too. All the anger, the resentment. It suddenly felt so heavy. I thought about all the times I'd made sarcastic comments when his child support was late by 2 days. The way I'd roll my eyes when he showed up in wrinkled clothes. I'd been keeping score of his failures while completely missing his pain. The truth was, we'd both been failing Lily, just in different ways. As I watched them through the diner window, my ex-husband weeping into his hands, our daughter comforting him, I realized something terrifying. I'd become the villain in our story, not because I protected Lily, but because I never gave him the chance to be better. 3 months after graduation, I found myself doing something I never imagined, sitting across from my ex at family therapy. The leather couch creaked as he leaned forward, hands clasped, like he was holding all his broken pieces together. "I want to do better," he said, and for the first time in 12 years, I actually believed him. Slowly, painfully, we began rebuilding. Weekly dinners where Lily would laugh at his terrible dad jokes. Him showing up early to her community college orientation, nervously clutching a brand new notebook. The first time he called me to ask advice about parenting a young adult, I nearly dropped the phone. Here's what I couldn't see before. Love isn't about grand gestures. It's in the quiet, awkward moments. The way he'd text Lily good luck before every exam. How he started volunteering at the animal shelter because she loved dogs. The time I caught him watching YouTube tutorials on how to braid hair, 20 years too late, but trying anyway. Last month, Lily brought home a childhood photo we'd never seen before. There he was, younger, softer around the edges, holding her at the beach. She'd written on the back in careful kindergarten letters, "Me and Dad, best day ever." That's when it hit me. All those years I thought I was protecting her memories. I'd been editing them instead. Our story doesn't have a perfect ending. Some wounds still ache when it rains. But now when Lily talks about her childhood, she doesn't say, "Back when Dad was gone." She says, "Before Dad came back." And that's enough. Because the truth is, he wasn't a bad father, just a lost one. And I wasn't a perfect protector, just a hurt one. But for our daughter, we're finally learning to be enough.